everybody, Jamie Trull here, CPA and profit strategist. And today I'm talking to my business owners a little bit about planning for a new year. So whenever you're watching this, if it's the end of a year, we're really talking more about planning for 2022, but this could also apply to 2023 and beyond, whatever year you choose. But right now we're sitting at the very end of 2021 and we're looking at what comes next. And I will tell you, as a business owner myself and someone who advises business owners and a former virtual CFO for various different small businesses, the importance of planning and intentionality with regards to our finances cannot be understated. It is so critical. If you don't have the target, if you don't have a plan for how you're going to get somewhere, then when you decide on any kind of targets, you're not going to know if it's going to be possible or not, or if it is possible, how to get there. So I am a really big proponent of planning out exactly what you're going to do to reach your goals and make sure your goals are informed by your finances, right? And also that helps you to know and think about what you're going to need and what resources and investments you might need to make in order to reach those goals. So I'm all about the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? However, I also want to make sure you have a plan to reach it, okay? Let's be optimistic, but also realistic here about how we're going to get there so that we can actually make it happen and so that the year doesn't fly by and we're completely off track of our goals. Now, one quick tip I want to give you before we jump into all of this is I want you to make an annual plan, but then I want you to take that and carve it up by quarter. Why do we do that? We do that because when we look at the full year, we feel like we have a ton of time. And so at the beginning of the year, we don't have a ton of urgency with regards to achieving those goals. So if we get off track in the beginning, we just think, I'll make it up later. But typically what happens then is we get to the end of the year and we realize we came up short. So once you come up with your goals for 2022 or whatever year you're planning for, right? I then want you to take that and carve it up by quarter. So January through March, Q1, right? And through the 4 different quarters of the year to understand what that means for your sales goals, what that means for your expenses and the budgets that you have, what that means for what you want to pay yourself, so that you have really clear goals and so that you can understand whether you're on track or off track. Because if you're off track in the beginning of the year, you know you're probably going to be off track at the end of the year. So you might want to make sure to make some changes to hopefully be able to then meet your goals. Now, as we jump into planning, I want to make sure that you download my absolutely free annual planner. I put together a guide. It will help you to be able to both reflect on the prior year, because it is really important to look back before we look forward. That's how we make realistic goals. We have to look backwards, understand what has happened in the past in order to help inform the future, and then also move forward and work through some of the planning steps that I have within this planning workbook as we look into the new year. So go to jamietrull.com/annual planner, and that is where you'll be able to grab my absolutely free planning guide that you can use. It's a worksheet. You can fill it in for yourself and be able to use that in your business as the guide for where you want to go. Because again, if we don't have that picture, right, then we're probably not going to end up there. If we don't have a map to get to the destination we want to go to, guess what? It's probably not going to show up. So my annual planning guide will start by going through your revenue and your expenses from the prior year, and also looking at how much you actually paid yourself. And that means both salary, if you take one, if you're a corporation, and also your owner's draws. And we're also going to look at, did you withhold properly for taxes? Because that's something that's super duper important. We don't want taxes to just creep up on us. So we're going to start by looking back, seeing how things went in 2021, and then we're going to look forward into the next year, okay? So when you're looking into the next year, I want you to start by thinking about your priorities, because your business is different than everybody else's business out there, okay? I promise they are not the same. And so it drives me crazy when people look out there to try to figure out, look at everybody else to try to figure out what their goals need to be for their business. So I want you to think first, what is most important to me in the coming year? And that is going to be dependent on your situation, maybe other income that you have, whatever your personal financial situation is, right? I want you to think about that. So some of you are going to say, I want to grow my business as fast as I can, okay? Now, importantly, that often comes with some investment of money. So if you decide you want to grow your business as fast as you can, and your goal is really growing that revenue and growing profit in your business, then you should know that that might come with a trade-off of your own personal salary or draws that you're taking for a period of time. Now, if you say, actually, I just want to be able to take as much out of the business, I'm okay growing a little bit slower, maybe not investing as much back into my business, growing a little bit slower, but then I can take more out to pay my bills. Maybe you're the sole income of your family and you need that money to be able to pay your bills. Well, that's an important thing to know as well too, because that is going to drive your decision making too. Additionally, maybe your goal is to pay back some debt. Maybe you brought on extra debt around COVID, or you just have some personal debt that you really want to attack, right? That's really important to know as well, because you'll want to factor that in when you're doing your planning. And another thing that we often need to be considering, right, is, are you close to retirement? What is your situation there? If you're really close to retirement, or maybe your kids are close to going to college and you want to fund that, right? Then those goals may be really important to you monetarily. So I just want you to think about what your goals are specifically with your business and what you really want to get out of it. And don't just default to, I want to grow, because that will come with some trade-offs. And that may also come with some trade-offs from a time perspective. So if you know your goal is actually to get more time, then maybe that's something that you need to consider when you're setting your financial goals as well, right? If we set financial goals that are so high that we feel like we're constantly having to run towards them and never giving ourselves enough time, well, then we're just going to lead to burnout and frustration. Even if we do hit those revenue goals, we don't have any time to enjoy it. So make sure you're thinking about what are the big picture goals. And we talk about that a little bit in my annual planner that you can grab and really think through, what do you think? What is your personal goal for the coming year? What is the driving force for you, not everybody else? And then one of the other really important factors in planning is figuring out, what are you going to offer this year, right? You may need to re-look at the offerings you're making within your business, whether you are a service business or a product business. Maybe you look at the different packages that you sell or the different price points that you sell, right? And decide if you're going to continue to sell those things, if you're going to make some changes to those things, if you're going to try to, maybe you sell the same things, but you're going to try to reduce the amount of time that it takes you to do each of the things that you sell, right? Or maybe it's time to reevaluate the price points of each of those different things that you sell, right? Really important at least once a year to get super strategic about that. Everything should be on the table. Don't hold too tightly to anything, right? You want to be able to look into your numbers and understand, okay, what happened in the past? What things are selling the most? What things make me the biggest amount of profit? Mind you, I said profit, not revenue, right? Because truth be told, your biggest revenue generator may not be your most profitable thing that you sell. All right, so understanding the difference is really important, right? Because profit is what happens after expenses. And that should also, to my service-based entrepreneurs, include your time. Your time is worth money. So you want to be considering that when you're figuring out what your most profitable products and services are. Okay, you are a resource to your business. Do not burn yourself out, especially if you are actively working within your business. All right, make sure you're valuing your time. So all of those are things that you want to sit down and think about what am I going to offer? How many of each of those things that I'm offering do I need to sell to meet my goals? And I want you to not just set a revenue goal, right? We all set revenue goals. We tend to think of our business in terms of revenue, i.e. money that comes in. What I want you to set, though, is a profit goal. And those are a little bit harder. They're a little more nebulous because that involves really removing all the expenses that you have in your business. But I want you to start thinking of your business in terms of profit more so than revenue. I know lots of businesses that have significant amounts. They will quote you 7, 8 figures in revenue. But at the end of the day, if the owner's not taking home some money to pay their dang bills, right? What is the point? So you want to be focused on profit. Yes, I know that means you'll pay more taxes, but, right? But paying taxes means you made money. If you're not paying taxes in your business, it's probably because you're not making money or you're doing a little bit of, questionable things, right? So make sure that you're making a hefty profit. That's what you can pay yourself out of for the work that you do in your business. Okay? So hopefully those were helpful. Make sure to grab my annual planner so that you can actually sit down and do this work and really think about things and spend some time planning out what's going to be most important for you this year and what's most in line with your goals for yourself and the things that you want to achieve. All right, I will see you around next time. Bye-bye for now.